Hello everyone, warm welcome to Regulatory Bodies YouTube channel by Testbook. I welcome you all in a very important session and we call it as Finance Current Affairs. So today we will be covering the important finance current affairs for 3rd and 4th of August, and I'm pretty sure these news which we are going to discuss today are going to help you in your upcoming examination. Now if you're preparing for regulatory bodies exam like RBI Grade B or SEBI Grade A examination, and even for upcoming IFSCA, IRDAI examination, then this session is a must-watch session. Not only this, if you are even preparing for the bank exams, in the past we have witnessed that now the bank exams like SBI PO, IBPS PO, they are also increasing their interest towards RBI circulars, SEBI circulars, and they're asking the questions in much depth. For those exams also, this session is a must-watch session for everyone. So let's get started, guys. Before we start, can I have a reply in the comment section that I'm audible, visible, everything is fine, we are good to go, so that we can begin the discussion without any further delay. Quickly, everyone, may I have a reply, are we good to go, so that we can start the discussion without any further delay. Quickly. So today, first of all, as I have received comments from you all in my past 2 videos, I am very, I would say, impressed, and thank you so much for giving so much love. And as promised, now you will be getting question for every news, and you will be getting a homework question related to every news, as we have already discussed. Not only this, in the starting of the session, I will give you the answers of the homework questions which I have given in the previous session, so that you have so that the answers are pretty handy with you and you can follow those answers for your upcoming exam preparations. Got it, guys? Done it? I hope we are good to go. No more issues, no more problems. So let's get started without any further delay. If you want to download the PDF of this particular session, it will be available on my Telegram channel. My handle is @Madhav Arora, and even you can scan the code or you can type economics by Madhav Arora. Here we go with the first question of the evening. The first question is the question which I have given you in the homework form in the previous session. I will be discussing it quickly. It will be a quick revision of all the news which we have covered in the last session, and then we will be moving ahead with today's session. Here we go with the first news of the day. The first question, rather, I would say, which is the homework question. It is the 4th homework question. Which of the following statement correctly explains the amendments to the nomination rules under the section 45, different sections which have been given? First one, a depositor can nominate up to 4 individuals either successively or simultaneously. The answer is yes. Successive nominations follow the order of listing unless priority is explicitly stated. That is correct. Simultaneous nominee must each revive equal shares in the deposit or locker. Simultaneous must each revive equal shares, that is not fitting in. मैं बताता हूँ इसका मतलब क्या है. इसका मतलब ये है कि सर एक individual is having an account and he has nominated 3 individuals as the nominee of his account. So one is succession. Succession means कि if I die, first will be the nominee of my account. If he also has passed away by that time, then second will be the nominee. If second has also passed away, then third will be the nominee. On the other side, 1, 2 and 3, they can be made simultaneous nominees, which says 50% for 1, 25% for 2 and 25% for 3. So on the death of this individual, 1, 2, 3, they will receive as per the given percentage, as per the predefined percentages. So keeping that in mind, C statement is wrong, B statement is correct. It governs the legal priority among successive nominees. Yes, sir, that is true. In case of simultaneous nomination, nominee's death nullifies all nominations. In case of simultaneous nominations, अगर मान लो simultaneous nomination है and the first dies, second and third, they will receive 25%. There is no problem with it, and this 50% will be transferred back to this individual's ownership, and this will be included as per the overall or as per the part of the total assets of that particular individual. बोलना क्या चाह रहा हूँ कि ये individual है, इसकी total जो asset है, land and all, it is of 10 CR. and his account balance was 2 CR, out of which 25% has been taken by 2, 25% has been taken by 3. लेकिन first का 50% था, but he or she passed away before the death of S, then this 50%, that is 50 lakhs, will be included as a part of total asset of the individual S, and now it will be transferred as per the legal hair transfers of the entire property will be done. So E statement is wrong. So answer is going to be ABD. That is absolutely correct. समझ आ गया? अगले क्वेश्चन की ओर बढ़ते हैं. With respect to changes in the regulatory reporting frequency, identify which statement are correct. Banks are now required to report RBI every Monday, Friday. खत्म कर दी बात. The term fortnight is legally defined as 1st to 15th. So 15th is a fortnight, and then the last fortnight, or I would say the period, is 15 to 1st to 15th is a fortnight, and second period is 16 to end of the month is the fortnight. The third provision to section 42 of RBI Act 1934 was omitted. ऐसा तो कुछ नहीं किया गया. The submission window, that means you have to report CRR on fortnight basis, and this report is need to be submitted to RBI, where you earlier had a window to make this submission in 7 days. Now this window has been reduced to 5 days. That is also true. There is no problem with it. Report must now be submitted on the last day of each fortnight or month or quarter. This point, if it would have been till the point that is fortnight, that would have been true. But if I go more technically, I have seen that in the comment section, none of you have given E statement correct, but E statement is also correct. The reason says reports must be submitted on the last day of either fortnight or on the last day of the month or on the last day of the quarter. तो उन्होंने अब क्या कहा कि sir, now it will be last day, that is the last date, rather than talking about Friday, Thursday or something like that. So उस context में E statement is correct, but if you don't want to go with it, you can go with BD as well. तो उस case में I have to change the statement. I would say reports must be submitted on the last day of each fortnight. Then I would say in this manner, if I come up with this statement, you will go yes sir, it is correct. तो अगर आप इसको correct मानते हैं, then the answer would be BCE. ठीक है जी, क्लियर हो गया. अगला क्वेश्चन. लेकिन अगले क्वेश्चन पे बढ़ने से पहले मैं जल्दी से आपको ये पूरा का पूरा जो एक्ट है 2 मिनट में बताता हूं, ताकि आपके पास ये एक्ट दिमाग में फिट हो जाए. अगर कोई क्वेश्चन आए, यू मस्ट बी इन position to answer this question appropriately in the examination. Please pay attention on the screen, guys. This is going to be very interesting. So if I talk about the banking laws amendment 2025, तो इस amendment में सबसे पहली चीज 5 acts involved है. First one, we have RBI Act 1934 is involved, SBI Act 1955 is involved, Banking Regulation Act 1949 is involved, and after that we have Banking Companies Act 1970 and 1980 is involved. सबसे पहली चीज है, तो ये जो 5 एक्ट इन्वॉल्व है, यू शुड बी अवेयर ऑफ दीज एक्ट्स. और इन पांचों एक्ट्स में टोटल जो नंबर ऑफ चेंजेस हुए हैं, जो अमेंडमेंट्स हुई हैं, दैट इज 19, एंड दीज अमेंडमेंट्स दे आर इफेक्टिव फ्रॉम 1st of August 2025. इसमें सबसे पहली जो अमेंडमेंट है, दैट इज रिलेटेड टू द डेफिनेशन ऑफ fortnight. नाउ इट सेज दैट अर्लियर द रिपोर्टिंग्स which were ought to be done on fortnight. So fortnight was defined as 2nd Friday and 4th Friday. मतलब second month का till 2nd Friday is one fortnight, and month का 2nd Friday to 4th Friday is the second fortnight. तो उसमें एक बड़ा confusion था. So in order to overcome this confusion, now it has been very clearly explained. Fortnight will be fixed 1st to 15th, and it will be 16th to the last day of the month. That could be 30th, 31st, whatsoever it is. In case of CRR, banks are asked to report the CRR on alternate Fridays. Now that alternate Friday or 2nd as well as 4th Friday has been removed, and the single statement which has been used is fortnight, and fortnight has been explained in an appropriate manner. In order to submit the report of CRR, earlier you were getting as a bank 7 days. Now this reporting is need to be submitted, or the data is need to be submitted in a window of 5 days only. Second point we have is that is related to substantial interest. ये point समझ लो. Substantial interest का मतलब क्या है सर? Whenever this point is used, substantial interest, it basically means that if the director of the bank or maybe the influential personality of the bank is having a shareholding in a company and that company has reached to the bank to borrow the funds, so we call it as a borrowing company. In that particular case, if this shareholding is up to 5 lakh rupees, or 10% of paid up capital, then only you were allowed to borrow the funds, then only bank was allowed to lend the funds. But 5 lakh was pretty old number because it was decided back in 1968. Ab including the impact of inflation, this number has been increased to 2 crores, and if the director shareholding in a borrowing company is up to 2 crores, then also bank can provide the loan. Next point is related to nominee. Now, for a bank deposit account as well as for the bank lockers, total number of nominees can be 4, और उस nominee की जो understanding है, that could be simultaneous. We can have the simultaneous nominees or we can have the sequential nominees. I have just explained you. I won't take much time again. I'll not discuss that point again. अगला point आता है after the nominee वाला part, that is related to the public sector banks as well as SBI, because the changes have been done in the case of SBI as well. तो इसमें ये कहा गया कि जो SBI है प्लस जितने भी nationalized banks हैं, now they can appoint their auditors independently. Not only appointment, but also their remuneration can be fixed by the banks independently depending upon their talent, depending upon their capability. Public sector banks as well as SBI, they are ought to transfer the unpaid dividend claims or unclaimed shares or unclaimed bonds to the IEPF fund, and this fund is defined under Companies Act and every company is responsible to do the same. Now same will be done by the public sector banks as well as per the latest updates which has been done. Is this fine, guys? So these are the updates which have been done. So you can go through with these updates. Again, I have given a summarized image, even I have given the overall summary to you for the same. So do check it out, and I'm pretty sure there will be no need to check the same news again because you will be in a position to answer it for sure. ठीक है जी, clear हो गया? Shall I move on to the next question? The next question from your homework wala part is along with India, $75 billion, India $6 billion. Along with India, we have Singapore, Malaysia, and Thailand. So answer is going to be A option for the given question. अगला question क्या कहता है? SBI, HDFC, ICICI has debuted in the Fortune Global 500 companies. Then if you see on the basis of this only, you can eliminate 3 options. अब उसके बाद HDFC बैंक और बचा SBI बैंक. अगर हम SBI बैंक की बात करें, SBI बैंक has jumped the position, but it has witnessed a jump of 15 ranks only, but HDFC Bank has jumped by 48 ranks. So answer is going to be A option. I hope clear होगा, समझ आ गया होगा. ठीक है जी, done है. Shall I move on and let's get started with the current news? If you are ready, then just give me yes sir. If you guys are ready, just give me yes sir so that we can begin the discussion without any further delay. Done. Okay, here we go with the first news of the evening, and the first news is very interesting and very important. This news has been discussed in the past. I'm just giving you a quick overview today. New UPI guidelines were introduced by NPCI, and these guidelines have been effective from 1st of August 2025. Now, what are these guidelines? When it was introduced? What are the points? So in that particular case, National Payment Corporation of India, which is an umbrella organization which is responsible to look after the retail payments in the country, which has been set up by RBI as well as Banks Association. So this organization has issued the new guidelines related to UPI, and these guidelines were introduced back in May 2025, which have been effective from 1st of August 2025. Guys, screen is flickering for me. I guess it's fine. Guys, एक बार check करके बताना जरा. Is there any issue, guys? Guys, I guess it's fine. There is no issue. ठीक है, चलो. So let's come back to the news. What does the news says? So the news says that National Payment Corporation of India has issued the new guidelines which are operational from 1st of August 2025. Why these guidelines have been introduced? In order to enhance the efficiency, ensure network sustainability, and protecting users' privacy and financial security. So these norms, they are going to be applicable on all those parties which are involved in UPI transactions, which include banks, payment system providers like Google Pay, Phone Pay, Paytm. Then we have third party application providers. NPCI has mandated that all the entities, they will implement the required changes by 31st of July 2025. Failing to do so, the regulatory actions, the penalties will be charged on the given organizations. First one, see, problem क्या है? Problem ये है कि UPI, now it has become a big success, and if we talk about the number of transactions which are done on the UPI platform per day is pretty high, and government is aiming to reach the count of per day transactions around 1 billion. 1 billion, you mean? You know what I'm trying to say? 1 billion basically means 100 crore transactions every day. But in order to support this 100 crore transaction, UPI network as well as hardware should be capable enough. Along with that, the entire ecosystem of UPI should be capable enough to do that. Along with this, due to this heavy traffic, we have witnessed there is a kind of delay sometimes in the UPI transaction. There are certain intervals of failure of UPI services. So in order to overcome these issues, NPCI has come up with certain suggestions, और NPCI ने बड़ी सिंपल भाषा में कहा कि सर यूपीआई का मेन मकसद क्या है? व्हाट इज द मेन एम ऑफ यूपीआई? सर, मेन एम ऑफ यूपीआई इज टू प्रोवाइड यू अ प्लेटफॉर्म विद द हेल्प ऑफ व्हिच यू कैन मेक the transactions, you can make the real-time payments, but along with that, the extra features offered through UPI are somehow creating a mess, is somehow increasing the traffic on the UPI network, which has led to the, or which may lead, or which is currently also leading to a slowdown in the UPI transactions, slowdown in the UPI updates, and even the failure of the UPI entire ecosystem. तो इन सारी चीजों को अवॉइड करने के लिए जो आपकी आई वुड से ट्रांजैक्शन के अलावा, रियल टाइम ट्रांजैक्शन के अलावा जो सर्विसेज है, दैट हैज बीन reduce their pressure on the UPI network has been tried to reduce with the help of these guidelines. The first one is balance inquiry limit. Now, as per the new limit, UPI users, they can make a manual balance check a maximum of 50 times per day per app. इसका मतलब क्या? If you are making a UPI transaction, after completing the UPI transaction, if you get a bank message which states that you have completed so and so transaction, this is your current balance, that is different. But when you yourself open the UPI application, let's say you open phone pay application, and by opening the phone pay application you click on check balance, and this checking the balance is obviously a free service and it will remain free, but there is a limited, or there is a count barrier which has been introduced. That means you can check your account balance through UPI platform 50 times per day per application. Automated background balance check performed silently by the apps are no longer permitted. So those checks which are permitted by the apps, automatically in the background the checks are going on. In that particular case, those checks will be removed, those checks will be blocked. Why this blocking is done? Obviously in order to reduce the traffic on the UPI network. After a successful transaction, the updated balance is automatically shown, minimizing the need for repeated checks. तो अब क्या होगा, जैसे ही आप एक ट्रांजेक्शन करेंगे, after the transaction your balance will be automatically visible in order to avoid the need of checking the balance again and again. So consequences क्या होंगे? If you have inquired your bank's balance 50 times, then in that particular case UPI app will be blocked from showing the balance for next 24 hours. So once you have reached the limit, then in that particular case your app will be blocked, not in terms of making the transactions. You can keep on doing the transactions, but you won't be able to check the balance for next 24 hours. Obviously, why? As I already said, unnecessary backend server load, protect against misuse के लिए ये introduce किया गया. This is the first point. Second point says the list account UPI usage limit. What is this? Let's first try to decode list account API. This is an application programming interface that retrieves the list of all bank accounts linked with the user mobile number on a UPI platform. For example, guys, I use PhonePe and I have linked two of my bank accounts with my PhonePe application, and obviously it is linked with my mobile number. One is of bank X, other one is of bank Y. Now, if I want to check again and again that with my given mobile number on the given UPI application, which all accounts are linked. So when I raise a command, when I raise a request to check that with the given mobile number, with the given on the given UPI application, my which all accounts are linked, this is known as list account API. That means this is the request you are raising to check out the list which has been linked to the given UPI application with respect to your mobile number. Now, there is a limit. Limit says UPI apps are now use the list account API to display users linked bank accounts only 25 times per day per user. कि भैया आप एक ऐप पर अब एक दिन में सिर्फ 25 बार चेक कर सकते हो कि आपके कौन कौन से बैंक अकाउंट इस गिवन एप्लीकेशन के साथ लिंक्ड है. इससे ज्यादा बार यू आर नॉट अलाउड. अगेन इफ यू हैव crossed the limit, then for next 24 hours you won't be allowed. API fetches and displays the list of bank accounts when setting up or switching the accounts. So whenever you will switch the account for making the payment, whenever you are switching the account or you are setting up the account, at that particular moment आपका जो application it will automatically show you the linked account, ताकि ये बार बार चेक करने की जो requirement है वो कम हो. But still if you want to check, you can check only 25 times per day. If the account list fails to load, app may retry, but only with the user explicit consent. Helps preserve user control and optimize server usage. तो जैसा कि मैंने आपको स्टार्टिंग में बताया कि ये जितने भी changes किए गए हैं, they have been done in order to reduce the unnecessary traffic on the UPI network. Next is pending transaction check status. So user can check the status of pending UPI transaction maximum 3 times a day. फॉर एग्जाम्पल आपने एक यूपीआई ट्रांजेक्शन की, बहुत बार होता है कि कंप्लीट नहीं हुई एंड इट गोज इन पेंडिंग. आपने अगर देखा होगा तो वो कलर चेंज हो जाता है. जनरली व्हेन यू कंप्लीट द ट्रांजेक्शन, आई यूज फोन पे, इट बिकम्स ग्रीन, बट इफ आई एम नॉट एबल टू कंप्लीट देन इट बिकम्स ऑरेंज. तो वो पेंडिंग ट्रांजेक्शन है. आई कैन चेक द पेंडिंग ट्रांजेक्शन 3 times a day. A minimum 90-second interval must be maintained between each query. यूजर गेट 4 attempts, तो आपको 4 attempts मिले. पहला तो जब आपने ट्रांजेक्शन की तब आपको रिजल्ट मिला पेंडिंग. आफ्टर दैट यू कैन चेक the status of your transaction thrice a day, not more than that. Why this change has been done? Because frequent status check, they cause unnecessary stress on the UPI server. By limiting the retries, NPCI ensures stable system performance for all users. अगला पॉइंट आया ऑटो पे एग्जीक्यूशन. तो यू लिंक और यू approve auto pay transactions or auto pay payments through your UPI applications. For example, I am using X mobile telecommunication network of X company, let's say Geo, and there is a point that whether you want to make the regular recharge. If I click on yes now, then automatically the moment my current recharge will finish, the validity finish, automatically the recharge will be done and the amount will be debited from my bank account through the UPI application, and this is known as auto pay, like EMI and all. So auto pay mandate window will be, that means auto pay will be done and it will be allowed during the non-peak hours, either before 10 a.m. or between 1 to 5 p.m. or after 9:30 p.m. What does it mean? So it means that these are the times of the day when UPI handles the maximum volume of transactions per second, so leading to potential slowdown or system strain. So it says that कि भैया ये जो आपके नॉन पीक आवर्स है, सिर्फ नॉन पीक आवर्स में ही ट्रांजेक्शन होंगी, इन दी पीक आवर्स ट्रांजेक्शन विल नॉट बी अलाउड. ठीक है जी. उसके बाद अगर हम बात करें कि अगर आपकी जो ऑटो पे ट्रांजेक्शन है वो फेल हो जाती है, देन यू कैन और यूपीआई विल मेक 3 more retries to make the or to complete the auto pay transactions. That means total 4 attempts will be done. तो पहली आज हुई, नहीं हो पाया, फिर उसके बाद दूसरा ट्राई होगा, तीसरा होगा, चौथा होगा. इन टोटल एक तो आपकी scheduled try थी which was ought to be done by UP, and rest 3 are the additional tries which are done in order to complete the auto pay transactions. तो obviously purpose क्या होता है scheduling का? Spread out transaction load, reduce the chance of failed transactions and enhance the reliability. तो इसीलिए chances को बढ़ाकर एक की बजाय 4 कर दिया कि एक बार अगर नहीं हो रहा 3 बार और ट्राई करो, उसके बाद नहीं हो रहा तो भैया उस पेमेंट को रोक दो. फिर उसके बाद जब यूजर आपको दोबारा कमांड देगा then only you will be completing that particular payment. Fifth point is recipient information visibility. So UPI apps, they must clearly display the recipient full name and transaction summary before confirming the payment. तो वो तो आज भी हो रहा है. अब तो ये चीज, this service is available for RTGS as well as NEFT as well, where you can identify the receiver's information. Penalties for non-compliance. So if PSPs or the app, they fails to follow the new rules, their access to UPI APIs can be restricted. अगर फोन पे ने रूल्स नहीं माने तो भैया उनका एक्सेस छीना जा सकता है. न्यू यूजर ऑनबोर्डिंग को पॉज किया जा सकता है. दे मे फेस रेगुलेटरी एंड टेक्निकल पेनल्टीज इफ दे आर नॉट फुलफिलिंग द कंप्लायंसेस व्हिच हैव बीन इंट्रोड्यूस्ड बाय NPCI. समझ आ गई गाइस? इजी है. 6 मेजर पॉइंट्स है, वो 6 मेजर पॉइंट्स ये हैं आपके सामने. मैंने इसको क्रक्स में भी दे दिया. The crux of the story says balance inquiry maximum 5 times per day per app, list account API maximum 25 times per day per app, pending transaction status maximum 3 times per day, 90 seconds gap, auto pay timing only during non-peak hours, and auto pay will be retried for 3 times. In total, the retry of auto pay will be done for 4 times. Recipient information is mandatory. You have to implement all these norms by 1st of August 2025 या फिर 31st of July तक. The parties, they should fulfill the requirements and it should be implemented, it should be effective to the public from 1st of August 2025. So this is the entire conclusion. Try to answer this question. Which of the following statements are correct as per the revised UPI guidelines by NPCI? A user can manually check their bank account balance up to 25 times per day per app. No sir, it has been increased to 50 now. Background balance check by UPI apps are now prohibited. That is true. The list account API can be used maximum 25 times per day per app. That is absolutely correct. After 50 balance inquiries, the user account is logged permanently. नहीं sir, 24 hours के लिए आप बस सिर्फ और सिर्फ अकाउंट का बैलेंस दोबारा चेक नहीं कर सकते, ट्रांजेक्शंस तो यू कैन मेक. Retry of account listing is allowed only with the user's explicit consent. That is also true. So answer to this particular question would be B, C, E. Rest all the statements are incorrect. ठीक है जी. Now let's move on to the second news of the evening. Second news is related to what? So second news is related to Saksham Niveshak campaign. So what is this Saksham Niveshak campaign? Guys, Niveshak basically means investor. Niveshak basically means investor, and the other name we have is that is Saksham. Saksham is again Hindi word. Saksham is again a Hindi word, and if I talk about what is its meaning, in English, then my answer to this particular question is it is basically enabled, capable, है ना? So Saksham, the word which we use is it can be capable, competent, adequate. So capable Niveshak campaign, that is making the investors capable enough so that they can trace their unclaimed funds. अब अगर आपको याद हो, in the previous session I told you that the unclaimed dividend account. What is unclaimed dividend account? Sir, a company has announced, it's a public company or it's a company which has announced the dividend of 100 crores, है ना, to its shareholders, out of which 90 crore rupees of dividend has been transferred to the respective accounts of the shareholders, but 10 crore dividend was not transferred in the given accounts because of some of the KYC issues, some of the update issues, or maybe the accounts are not active, or maybe some of the other reasons. So in this case, company go for dividend payout, and dividend payout is done in 30 days window. So whenever if someone asks you what is the dividend payout window, so dividend payout window is 30 days. If even after 30 days the payment is not successful, then in that particular case company will wait for 7 days. Company will wait for 7 days that maybe jo shareholders they can come and they can claim their dividend, but if they don't come, then after 7 days company will transfer that unclaimed dividend into an account which is known as unclaimed dividend account. दूसरा पॉइंट है कंपनी के जो अनक्लेम्ड शेयर्स है या फिर कंपनी के जो अनक्लेम्ड बॉन्ड्स हैं. अनक्लेम्ड बॉन्ड्स का मतलब द बॉन्ड्स अगेंस्ट विच द इन्वेस्टर हैज नॉट claimed the interest, or the investor has not claimed the bond principal value even after the maturity. So after 7 years, these funds, funds in the unclaimed dividend account will be transferred into an account which is known as IEPF, and this account is under the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. अब यहाँ से आप funds को recover कर सकते हैं. When you raise the request, you have a portal, you need to raise the request and you can recover the funds. लेकिन government is very anxious these days regarding the unclaimed deposits as well as unclaimed deposit accounts, unclaimed shares, unclaimed bonds, where government want that public should trace their unclaimed funds as easy as they can and the transaction should be completed. So in the same, I would say, target, a campaign was launched, that is Saksham Niveshak campaign. Investor Education Protection Fund Authority is the one which has launched this particular campaign under the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, which is operating under the Government of India. Campaign start date is 28th of July, end date is 6th of November 2025. As it said, it's a 100-day campaign. What is the primary objective? So the primary objective is to create awareness about unclaimed dividends, enable them to claim their entitlement, help them in updating the KYC and nomination detail, and prevent them or preventing their investments from being transferred to IEPF due to incomplete records. अब क्या हुआ कि आपने अपने बैंक रिकॉर्ड्स को कंप्लीट नहीं किया, या कंपनी ने जो आपसे रिकॉर्ड मांगे वो कंप्लीट नहीं किया, जिसकी वजह से आपके जो फंड्स हैं they were not able to reach to you, and that is the reason they may be declared as unclaimed and they may land into IEPFA. In order to avoid that, this 100-day nationwide campaign has been launched. What are the important features? Conclusion दे दिया पूरे का पूरा. देखना, this campaign is for retail shareholders, like you and me, we are retail shareholders, but it is specifically for those who have unclaimed dividends or unclaimed shares. Educate investors about dormant or unclaimed corporate benefits. Structured assistance in updating their PAN, Aadhaar, bank details, because this is the, I would say, in most of the unclaimed cases, this is the reason that you have not updated your PAN, you have not updated your Aadhaar, you have not given your exact bank details. So in order to overcome this, this is the most, I would say, appropriate point which has been triggered under Saksham Niveshak campaign. Under this campaign, it will help in updating or adding the nominees in order to avoid legal complications later. It helps to recover the unpaid or unclaimed dividends which are held by the companies, and it will also, this campaign is also asking the companies to be proactive in order to engage with the shareholders so that you can get the updated records of the shareholder, and the possibility of declaring the shares as unclaimed, declaring the dividend as unclaimed dividend should reduce. So why this is important? Unclaimed dividend and shares, they are increasing because of outdated bank details, missing or invalid KYC, lack of nomination, death of original shareholder with no claim initiated. So such amounts, they are transferred into IEPF if unclaimed for 7 consecutive years. So in order to avoid this, in order to make it easy to recover your funds, this campaign has been launched under the same organization about which we have discussed during the Banking Law Act, which is known as IEPF. So IEPF was established back in 2016 under Companies Act 2013 under the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. It has come up with Niveshak Didi, Niveshak Panchayat, Niveshak Shivir and Saksham Niveshak campaign, which has been introduced recently. Got it, guys? No doubt. Why government focusing on unclaimed deposits now? Why focusing on unclaimed deposits? Unclaimed account, be it bank or of shares. See, first point is, I said that government is focusing on unclaimed funds. I have not said deposit. I have not said shares. Unclaimed funds, which include even your unclaimed deposits, which are with DEF or banks. Even it includes the unclaimed different dividend accounts which are holded by the company in a bank, or unclaimed shares with the company, unclaimed bonds with the company. So in order to help the public to recover these unclaimed funds, these initiatives have been taken where the appropriate financial information is delivered to the investors so that they can come and with the help of that information, they can recover their funds. That is the logic behind this. Is this point clear? Is this point clear? Okay. This is the entire conclusion of the story. You can just go through with it. Here we go with the first question. Sir, I watch your recorded session. I have one question. If a regulated entity has invested in AIF which is not involved in downstream investment, the rule of 10%, 20%? Yes. ये जो 10% और 20% का रूल है, दैट इज अ कॉमन रूल. इट हैज नथिंग टू डू विद डाउनस्ट्रीम. डाउनस्ट्रीम के केस में अप टू 5% नो इशू. 5% से ज्यादा अगर इन्वेस्टमेंट है और ऊपर से डाउनस्ट्रीम है तो उसमें कंडीशन आ जाती है 100% ऑफ प्रोविजनिंग विच इज इक्वल टू डायरेक्ट एक्सपोजर. समझ आ गई बात? समझ आ गई बात? ऋषभ, अगर आपने वो सेशन अच्छे से देखा होगा तो आप मेरी बात समझ गए होंगे. Okay, moving on. Which of the following statement is correct with respect to Saksham Niveshak campaign? It is a 100-day campaign launched by SEBI to boost investors' wealth. इन्वेस्टर की वेल्थ को कैसे बूस्ट करेंगे? बूस्ट कर सकता है क्या इन्वेस्टर की वेल्थ को? पैसा तो इन्वेस्टर का ही है और इन्वेस्टर को वो पैसा बस वापस मिलेगा और इन्वेस्टर अपने उस पैसे को क्लेम कर सकता है, जिससे क्या होगा कि इन्वेस्टर की जो वेल्थ है वो इंक्रीज होगी. नहीं सर, ऐसा तो नहीं है. वेल्थ तो वेल्थ ही है. That is not going to be impacted. It assists shareholders in claiming unclaimed dividends. That's true. It aims to prevent investor funds from being transferred to IEPF. Because if you are being updated, you are being financially aware, you have that knowledge that you have to claim your funds, otherwise it will be transferred to IEPF. It will reduce. Campaign is for 100 days. That is true. It is under Ministry of Corporate Affairs. That is true. So according to me, the answer is going to be 2, 3, 4, 5. That means B option is absolutely correct. Very good, Saloni. Yash, Niharika, you have given the correct answer. Moving on to the next question. Sorry, the next news. The next news is very, I would say, important news, not in the factual aspect, not in the factual aspect, but in the knowledge aspect. I repeat, not in the factual aspect, but in the knowledge aspect. I hope you are trying to understand what am I looking forward in this particular news. I don't want you to remember the data. I don't want you to remember कि क्या है data for different sectors, but I want you to remember and understand the logic behind the news which I am going to discuss. So news क्या है? The news says India's bank credit growth slowed down to 10.2% in June 2025, which was 13.8% in June 2024. तो जून 2024 में जो इंडियन बैंक्स की क्रेडिट ग्रोथ थी दैट वाज 13.8%, बट नाउ दिस क्रेडिट ग्रोथ हैज रिड्यूस्ड. आई एम नॉट सेइंग दैट अब क्रेडिट ग्रोथ ही नहीं हो रही. आई एम नॉट सेइंग दैट देयर इज अ contraction. It's not the case, but the growth which was earlier 13.8, it has reduced to 10.2%. This is something you need to remember. अब उसमें जब ये न्यूज आई, आरबीआई ने जब ये न्यूज दी, तो उसमें आरबीआई ने सेक्टर वाइज भी बात की. तो आरबीआई ने कहा कि जो ग्रोथ स्लो डाउन हुई है, दैट हैज स्लोड डाउन इन केस ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर एंड अलाइड एक्टिविटीज, which was earlier 17.4% growth, which has reduced to or decreased to 6.8% only. ये डेटा इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है, बट रीजंस आर इंपॉर्टेंट. Why the credit growth has slowed down in agriculture sector? First one, weak rural consumption and lower farm income plus low inflation, which has resulted in cheap availability of raw material. Monsoon is uncertain, fall in commodity prices, that is low inflation, as I said, farmer hesitation to borrow to high repayment pressure. So these are the reasons because of which farmer is not increasing its demand on banks credit, जिसकी वजह से जो credit growth है to the agriculture sector, it has decreased in comparison to the last year's data. In case of industrial sector, there is again a reduction, but the reduction is quite less. सबसे ज़्यादा जो reduction हुई वो कौन से sector में हुई? That is in agriculture sector. अब MSME की मैं बात करूँ तो MSME performance is resilient credit growth. MSME में there is relatively stable credit growth, almost as same as the previous year, but the sectors which have shown growth include engineering, construction, textiles. Challenges which are faced by the industrial sector, that is elevated input and logistic cost, weak external demand, that is weak exports due to global slowdown, geopolitical tensions, geographical fragmentations, and corporate, they are delaying the capacity expansion because they are not very sure about the global market, and that is the reason they are not increasing their capacity of production in order to avoid major uncertainties in the near future. Then in case of service sector, surprisingly, it has also slowed down from 15.1 to 9.6%. Basically, this is because of economy shifting towards digital and less capital intensive services, especially AI, which is impacting the service sector, especially the IT sector, leading to layoffs, which has reduced the expenses of the companies, which has reduced their credit requirements. Then personal loan has also reduced. The growth has decreased from 16.6 to 14.7%. अब इसमें एक लॉजिक भी है. लॉजिक क्या है कि ना सर, इन 2023 to 2024, banks or banking scenarios were very different in comparison to 2024 to 25 and in comparison to 2025-26. If I compare these three periods, then I would say the easiest banking scenarios are here. Easiest banking scenarios are here, and there were very tough banking scenarios in this financial year because of which there was low demand on loan, there was low demand for credit, because of which this growth has reduced in comparison to the previous parts. So high interest rate reducing the loan affordability, talking about the last financial year also. Weaker demand for credit card, auto and consumer durable loans, household becoming very much, I would say, aware that they should not spend majority of their income on paying the EMIs. So these are some of the reasons because of which personal loan has also slowed down. What are the reasons of these slowdown? Tight monetary policy overall for all the sectors. If I talk about an airplane view, so from an aeroplane view or a helicopter shot says that the credit growth in the country has slowed down because of tight monetary policy, global economic uncertainty, consumer behavior has changed, and sector specific headwinds have been witnessed. Here we go with the question. Which of the following statement correctly describes the sector-wise credit trend reported by RBI? As I said, sector-wise data is not important. You can ignore the sector-wise data, but yes, overall data is important. Overall bank growth slowed to 10.2, which was 13.8. This is correct. This is absolutely correct. But on the other side, if I talk about the agriculture sector data, the agriculture sector data is not correct. The agriculture sector data says that the last year this requirement or this growth was 17.4. Now it is 6.8. This is true. MSME segments industry showed sharp decline. MSME में sharp decline नहीं sir, MSME sector तो resilient है, कोई decline आया ही नहीं. So this is wrong. Fourth and fifth statement are correct. So the only statement which is incorrect is third. So answer is going to be 1, 2, 4, 5. So D option is the correct answer. ठीक है जी, क्लियर हो गया? कोई दिक्कत कोई परेशानी मुझे लगता होगी. Now it's the homework time. So you can take the screenshot guys, share the answers of the homework questions with me, and I will be discussing these homework questions in the next class as I always do. ठीक है जी, here we go. Take the screenshot quickly. You will get 10 seconds to do that. Done. 1 second. Let me remove the answers, otherwise it will be no use of giving you the question. Moving on to the next question, take the screenshot. So we have second question as homework, then we have fourth question as homework, and now we have the last one, that is the sixth question as homework. So you have 3 questions in the homework format. Do go through with it, give me the answers in the comment section, and I will be discussing them in the next session to go. Thank you so much for joining guys. Don't forget to share the link of this session with your friends, and do hit the like button before leaving. Do not forget to share your feedback and suggestions for this finance current affairs session, because this session is for you all guys, it's not for me. You must give your feedbacks, your suggestions, so that this session should be fruitful for you, so that this session turns out to be the most helpful investment of yours while attempting any of the upcoming examination. तो अगर आप चाहते हैं कि बहुत easy way में आपको finance current affairs समझ आए, this is a must watch session. But if you want to get more out of the session, then you have to give your valuable feedbacks and suggestions so that I can implement them for the upcoming sessions to go. Thank you so much. Good luck. Don't forget to hit the like button. See you soon. Bye bye. Take care. Good luck. God bless you all.